Coming up on today's Airborne, AOPA announces dues increase and membership services restructuring. The FAA NextGen report to Congress shows progress. And Air Force pilot helps during an airline emergency. Welcome to Airborne on Aero-TV. I'm Ashley Hale. AOPA's Mark Baker talked with ANN CEO and Editor-in-Chief Jim Campbell early Thursday morning to discuss changes occurring at the organization. Baker wanted to explain a recent decision whereby AOPA will be increasing its dues and adding multiple layers of service and structure to their membership hierarchy. According to Baker, there have been but 2 due increases in the last 20 years. However, after instigating aggressive efforts at cost containments, the dues increase is very much needed.
We want to give you kind of a heads up that we're going to do a dues increase. It's our second one in 24 years. It'll be announced later this morning. Regular membership now will be about $59. We spent a lot of time collecting information from our members the last 3, 4, 5 months, a couple thousand of them. Determination appropriate to do a dues increase, but we'd also add more options. That was the number one thing that came out from everything from a e-membership at $49 all the way up to a lifetime with the pilot protection program of just under $2,000. So more choices for members so they could tailor to their flying and their personal needs.
While basic AOPA membership dues will increase, there will also be a number of additional tiers of membership and membership services, and many of the services AOPA members used to get for free are likely to carry a price tag or price increase in the future. ANN will keep you posted as we get more details. In his first report to Congress since becoming the Chief NextGen Officer 1 year ago, FAA Deputy Administrator Mike Whitaker detailed what the report says is the significant progress made toward completing the technological foundation that is bringing greater efficiency and predictability to the nation's airspace system. Whitaker highlighted some of the technological achievements that, while nearly invisible to the flying public, are already allowing passengers to enjoy the benefits of NextGen through shorter flights, better on-time performance, and fewer misconnections, according to the report. You're watching Airborne. We'll be back after these messages with more news and our feature of the day.
ADS-B will be mandatory for most aircraft by 2020 in the United States, but you can benefit from ADS-B today with the Bennett King KT-74 Mode S transponder. The KT-74 meets the global mandates for ADS-B out when attached to a suitable WAAS GPS. Finally, the extraordinary story of the world-changing X-Prize space competition is being told and illustrated with hundreds of insider photos in Jim Campbell's colorful new book, Beyond the Blue. Journey with Jim as he flies formation with spaceships, plays in zero gravity, prepares rocket racers, and documents the amazing first decade of the personal space race. Available this summer. Get your advance order in now by checking out www.kindredspirit.com.
Welcome back. If you'd like to suggest a story for Airborne, Aero-TV, our website, or podcast, drop an email to news-pi@aero-news.net. Captain Mark Gongol, a B-1B Lancer pilot, was on an airline flight last December 30th. Along with his wife and daughter, 151 other passengers and 6 crew members. Not long after takeoff, flight attendants made an announcement requesting medical assistance. It appeared to be a problem in the first class section of the airplane, but when an announcement was made asking if there were any non-revenue pilots on board, Gongol realized the problem was with a cockpit crew member, and he responded. Arriving at the flight deck, Gongol saw 4 flight attendants and 2 passenger nurses providing medical assistance to the airliner's captain. He offered his assistance to the first officer, and she accepted. The first officer decided that he would be most useful to talk on the radios, back her up on the aircraft's checklist, and look for anything going wrong. The 2 pilots worked together on the issue of cabin pressure, approach, contact with air traffic control, visual cues, programming of the autopilot, and other procedures. Gongol said at about 500 feet above ground level, the first officer hand flew the approach to a normal touchdown. Gongol said, quote, "Everyone aboard the aircraft remained calm. In my opinion, any military pilot would have done the exact same thing I did." End quote. It's Friday at last and time for our weekly Barnstorming commentary. This week, Jim has a few words to say about NORAD. For decades, NORAD has successfully protected our homeland, but based on recent comments, they seem to have lost touch with the general aviation community. Here's this week's Barnstorming.
Thanks, Ashley, and hi, folks. Well, back to politics, and stupid politics, if you really want to get right down to it. We had a story that appeared this week about NORAD and NORAD bitching and moaning about the GA airplanes they were chasing out of various pieces of airspace because of those aircraft assumed ignorance of a TFR. There are two things here for which we really need to take NORAD to task. One, they have to look at the system and realize it's unworkable. TFRs are poorly communicated, poorly organized, often unnecessary, and frankly do very little to reach out to the pilot community that is most affected by these temporary flight restrictions. It is an unworkable solution. It has been an unworkable solution. It's just absolutely ridiculous for things to go this bad for so long and nobody come up with the idea that, well, if the TFRs keep being violated, then maybe there's something wrong with the TFRs and maybe we should fix it. Okay. I've said this before, you get the general idea, but for God's sakes, NORAD, if you're the ones chasing us and you're worried about wasting your time, why don't you be a part of the solution rather than part of the problem? And help us come up with a solution by which TFRs are, one, only produced when necessary, two, communicated properly to the GA and other communities, and more important than anything else, done so as to protect the safety of all, I repeat, all involved. And then finally, well, a NORAD official by the name of Stephen Armstrong decided to throw in one ridiculous quote. Now, I took a look at Mr. Armstrong's background. There's no question this is a very smart guy who's undertaken some extraordinary responsibilities on behalf of our country. And Mr. Armstrong, I thank you for that. But then I can't let this go. You made a statement to the Associated Press about general aviation aircraft. It's a moronic statement. It said basically, in reference to GA aircraft, they just take off and do what they want. Mr. Armstrong, damn it, it's America. What do you expect us to do? Since the Wright brothers, the freedom to fly has been one of those truly American, truly patriotic, truly phenomenal expressions of what being a U.S. citizen is all about. Now, granted, people fly all over the world, but never so much and so freely as they do here in the United States. And will they just do what we want? Do we need your permission? Are you in charge? Sir, you work with NORAD. NORAD responds to the needs of the United States citizenry. Yeah, we're going to do what we want, but we're going to follow the rules, even when the rules are unworkable. We're going to do the best we can, but don't ever criticize a free citizen, a free pilot, for being free, for enjoying GA, for doing what they want. Because, damn it, it's the American way. Look it up. For the Aero-News Network, Airborne and Aero-TV, I'm Jim Campbell.
A Tecnam P-92 tail dragger accomplished an overflight of the Aconcagua summit on May 24th. At nearly 23,000 feet, Aconcagua is the highest mountain in both the southern and western hemispheres. It's been a long-held ambition of Mario Cardama, Tecnam's Argentinian-based dealer, to fly over Mount Aconcagua. On the 24th of May, Mario achieved his lifelong ambition as he powered his Tecnam P-92 up to 22,840 feet to cross the summit. He started the flight with chase planes, but left them behind as he climbed to 12,000 feet. He continued his climb, being powered by the Rotax 914 turbocharged engine. He used oxygen and said that the Tecnam P-92 performed perfectly throughout the flight. After landing, he said, quote, A special mention must be made of Professor Luigi Pascal, who at 91 is still the inspiration for all the great designs at Tecnam, and without whom my personal mission would not have been possible." End quote. Airborne is brought to you by some of the best sponsors in the aviation business. We'll be right back with more news.
Since the early days of powered flight, pilots have struggled with landing in crosswinds. In fact, crosswinds and wind gusts cause more landing accidents than fog, thunderstorms, and icing combined. That's where the Redbird X-Wind SE comes in. By placing pilots in gusty crosswind conditions for extended periods of time, the X-Wind SE gives instructors all the time they need to teach the pilot the proper techniques for landing in crosswind conditions. For more information on Redbird X-Wind SE and Redbird's entire line of flight training devices, visit www.redbirdflightsimulation.com.
Welcome back. The United States will be sending 2 competitive teams to the 58th Gordon Bennett balloon race in France this year. Team 1 will be made up of Philip Bryant and Andy Caden, while Team 2 will consist of Mark Sullivan and Sherry White. The Gordon Bennett race is a great challenge for gas balloon pilots. The rules are quite simple. To win the race, the competitors have to fly the longest distance from the departure point. It's also all about adventure, courage, strategy, and luck. The teams will spend 2 to 4 days and nights in wicker baskets up in the air. The aim is to be able to hold out until being the last competitor in the sky and to land as far away as possible. The international competition was initially created by James Gordon Bennett, publisher and explorer, and the owner of the New York Herald newspaper. The first event was held in 1906, and in 1979 it took place in the United States. The Robinson Helicopter Company has received Transport Canada's certification for the R66 Turbine Police Helicopter. Robinson's R66 police model is specially configured for law enforcement and meets the latest FAA crashworthiness regulations. The 4-place R66 police helicopter is turnkey ready for law enforcement and comes standard with a FLIR Ultra 8000 thermal imaging camera, a 10-inch fold-down color monitor, a SpectraLab SX7 searchlight with 30 million candle power, and a dual audio controller. Performance specifications of the R66 police helicopter include a cruise speed of up to 120 knots, payload of 800 pounds with full fuel, and a hover ceiling out of ground effect at a max gross weight of 10,000 feet. Well, that's our program. Remember to get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at Aero-News.net. Please remember, Airborne is streamed 3 times a week and is always online. Join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for a new edition of Airborne. I'm Ashley Hale. Thanks for watching.